From the Delhi studios of Republic TV, it's time for Arnab Goswami on the debate.
Arnab Goswami on the debate at 10, presented by Berger Easy Clean, powered by Reva University, Quick Heal Secrite, Green Lamb Laminates, PolicyBazaar.com, and Cucina, co-powered by Mankind Pharma and
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The freedom of the press in India comes with the constitutionally mandated reasonable restrictions. In my view, it is a reasonable restriction not to give a terrorist a platform. I don't know what the editorial policy of the Hindu or the Frontline is, but I have problems with whatever they are doing. I don't understand why they would interview terrorists. The freedom of the press does not mean unbridled platform and unquestioned space to the ideals, ideology, and outlook of jihadi terrorists. This is, in my view, neither reasonable nor responsible. The job of the Indian media is not to be manufacturers of woke propaganda that attempts to repackage the Hamas terrorism as a freedom movement. In my opinion, the Hindu's offshoot, Frontline, I'm told it's a magazine of some kind, should not have given space to a Hamas terrorist. Now, regardless of the fact that many people may not have read the interview, because as we all know, not many people read magazines anyway. I don't remember the last time I read one. But the fact of the matter is it ethical to interview terrorists? It is not a counterpoint of view within a democratic tolerance debate. It is the proliferation of a jihadi Islamist ideology, and to give that terrorist a space is unacceptable, and that is my opinion. That is my editorial outlook. The Hindu, the Lutyens brigade, the liar wires can have their opinion, of course. Of course, they are free to have their opinion. But ladies and gentlemen, the irony of it all is that this interview published in this magazine called The Frontline, which I am told is an offshoot of the Hindu newspaper, is one in which the interviewer himself is none other than Iftikhar Gilani, who is the same character who called Erdogan's victory a victory for nationalism. Ladies and gentlemen, let's be very clear about a few facts here. Editorial freedom is all right, but why would one at this point of time give a platform to the Hamas and let it be seen to be a case of clashing editorial opinions? But I have my opinion, and I think the Hindu should present their side of the story as well. My view, and I hope people like Arnab understand the seriousness of my question, is that even if the Chinese give you a lot of money directly or indirectly, you must never publish a sponsored piece by the Chinese government or the Chinese Communist Party, a sponsored piece by the government, because they are killing your soldiers, they are attacking your soldiers, they are threatening your country's sovereignty. You cannot have published pieces from the Chinese. I'm sorry, I'm not so liberal about it. That it's okay, it doesn't matter, this is journalism, this is neutrality. We'll take money from anyone, we'll publish anyone's opinion. It may be China today, Pakistan tomorrow. We are journalists, we can get away with everything. I don't believe in that. Similarly, viewers, I believe that you cannot be interviewing people from the Islamic State, the Al-Qaeda and Hamas, publishing it and saying, we are journalists, it's all right, we'll give our opinion, give everybody's opinion. It's all about freedom of expression. It's not. This is the guise of fake neutrality to try and get away from the more serious and rightly contentious issues of what are the do's and don'ts for journalism. I believe it's not acceptable that you can publish anything on the basis of information given by anyone to do with the government of China, or for that matter, start interviewing terrorists and then rationalize it, saying it may be your terrorist, for you it's a freedom fighter, for me. By that same logic, would the Hindu or any group associated with the Hindu tomorrow interview Hafiz Saeed as well? Is that also going to be acceptable journalism? I believe, therefore, since I'm putting the hashtag tonight, no interviews with terrorists, the time has come in this country for the right-thinking people in this country to become more vocal about issues like this. It cannot be a subset of people who consider themselves woke, who'll get away with everything and say that we are going to set the rules for so-called journalism in our country, which will include interviews with terrorists. No. And remember, viewers, this is a country where Hafiz Saeed has praised one particular journalist who's also been made famous for her association allegedly with Neera Radia. Now that's one question. Why would Hafiz Saeed praise an Indian journalist? Why would that Indian journalist weep or create a narrative in favor of Burhan Wani? Why would one group publish interviews with Hamas terrorists? Why would a section of the media lie that all Muslims in this identity and their citizenship see which were later contradicted in the floor of Parliament by the very food for thought. Let them broader debate. What is right and what is wrong? These are the same people. When a Hamas terrorist addresses the public rally, not criticize the sitting chief minister, saying for not making it clear that he was who platform to a foreign terrorist to a public rally in the country. Nothing to be looked away from. What is the agenda here? And when we ask people, agenda behind this, they say, no, in that case I reject as well. This is not ideology. Ideology means when you believe in something. I live in the country, and I believe that any journalist, to be a true journalist, must be an actor. If you live in your own country, then you're going to the country whose passports you get. Ladies and gentlemen, terrorists, I love your country. We love to hear your country. In fact, I challenge like Arnab. I would to accept the challenge. Come on this unedited platform. Debate.
Israel is fighting a decisive battle against Hamas terror, a fight they are determined to win.
The army is still scanning the country to find remains. So now, they sometimes find a body that was probably hidden in the bushes or I don't know what, and the body is brought here. So now they're going through each and every village, in every town, and they are going to these places where everything is burned to ashes, and they're collecting the ashes.
But amid the war, left-leaning Lutyens media is trying to create a sympathy wave for Hamas. They've given platform to Hamas terrorists with a full-fledged interview justifying the October 7th attack. And also a platform to try and dictate terms for India's foreign policy. Israel has given it back, slammed the left-leaning media house for its sickening choice of interviewee.
There is a clear and motivated attempt at softening the image of Hamas, of providing them a halo of a root cause theory, with a media platform even letting a Hamas leader quote Mahatma Gandhi in support of their fight. It's preposterous as it looks. But then the question is, should narrow political agenda be allowed to compromise India's national interests?
Over the weekend, platform given to Hamas leader in Kerala to spew venom triggered massive outrage.
للدكاترة والقيادات والرموز الكرام الذين يحضرون هذا اللقاء، بارك الله فيكم، حفظكم الله. دعونا ننتصر معا، دعونا نهزم الصهاينة معا، دعونا نستنقذ المسجد الأقصى المبارك معا، دعونا نساعد ونقف ونتضامن وننتصر لغزة التي انتصرت باسمنا للأقصى. دعونا نفعل ذلك معا، والله مع المؤمنين.
Has the pro-Hamas ecosystem gone too far now? Let's debate.
In fact, I personally think it's scandalous and shocking that the Hindu has actually done this. I couldn't believe it when I first heard about it, Saurabh and Savio, but Saurabh, it is true that the Hindu has published a quote-unquote exclusive interview with a top Hamas terrorist who they claim represents their international relations office. Maybe the Hindu would also consider interviewing the international relations head of the Islamic State and the Al-Qaeda tomorrow. But I'm quite shocked at this rather, I don't call it an interview, it is nothing but a pamphleteering which I see here. There are no tough questions. It's an open platform being given. And while I agree with the fact that the Hindu has a right to follow its own editorial logic in this, I don't know what that logic is meant to be. Why would they interview a terrorist? I mean, why would they interview a group that has just carried out the worst atrocities that the world has seen and give them a platform like this? Why would they do that, Saurabh? Isn't it self-defeating?
Absolutely, Arnab. You know, as a journalist,
it's always
we are
better
often,
to make a point than
we often
the
come
gun
across
giving
a platform to the Israelis every day.
Just hey, why? He's asked me to speak. Let me speak, and then you can answer. Right? Don't jump the gun. Arnab, Hamas is a terrorist organization which has committed a horrific terror attack. There is no denying this fact. Everyone. This was an attack against humanity. This was an attack against innocent citizens, and this has to be condemned. Any editor across the globe, any independent journalist across the globe has to value, you know, editorial discretion, but also has to value the issues which are at stake. The issue here at stake is that are you for terrorists or are you fighting against terrorism? That is the first issue. I would say that when you are publishing an interview by a terrorist leader, you're giving a platform. You're giving a platform, you're building a narrative which is actually supporting terrorism. He's also trying, I saw the interview, I saw the response sent by the Israeli ambassador. He's right, because this is also putting pressure on India. It is trying to build a narrative that if you're not supporting Hamas or their fight, you are, you know, undermining India's national interest. They have nobody to tell India what policy they need to follow. I would say,
no,
you know,
but,
you have
but what is
choices like
what are people like Enram doing? Saurabh, I would like to ask them, not rhetorically, but I wonder what Mr. Enram and the Hindu are doing, because the question that is being asked here by the Hindu interviewer seems to be a celebration of the massacre and a celebration of the rape of women and the rape, decapitation and murder of children and the hostage taking of young and old. And the questioner says, on October 7th, Hamas surprised the world by taking on one of the world's most strong armies. It's a celebration, Savio. Look at the language. Surprised the world. And the question arises if it was worth it.
You know,
What kind of a stupid question is that? What is the question? That whether a terrorist attack was worth it? I mean, this is a ridiculous question. And I don't know what the editorial philosophy or idea behind the Hindu is. But to ask, 1 minute, sir. But to ask, but for an interviewer of the Hindu to ask, Was the terrorist attack worth it? Mr. Terrorist, it's like going to Osama bin Laden and saying, Aarti, but Mr. Laden, was 9/11 worth it? It's crazy. And I don't know what's going on out here today. It's horrendous. A question that is phrased like that. It's absolutely horrendous and unforgivable in my view, Mr. Ayaz. Yes. Yes, Mr. Ayaz, go ahead. I can't believe this. I cannot believe this. Yeah.
See, there are 2-3 points. See, there are 2-3 points. See, there are 2-3 points in it. One is that, you see, Hamas, in a letter written by the ambassador to the Hindu chief, he has equated that Marzouk with the Ladin and then the Qassab. So I don't think that being true, that being a fact. Why? Because he should know that the Marzouk has been the first elected, bureau chief in 1992, and then he continues to be a political bureau chief, deputy chairman, even right now. So that being one point, and second being, why don't you accept and realize that it is always better to make a point, to speak out instead picking up the gun, and we must encourage instead allowing instead we should encourage.
Oh, so you're saying if the Hamas gives an interview to the Hindu, they will stop picking up the gun against innocent people. I mean, which world are you in? If the Hamas gives an interview to the Hindu, it's part of a reformist movement. The media must try and reform terrorists by giving them a platform. Horrendous, horrendous, I say. Can't believe it.
By giving a coverage to the
horrendous. Horrendous thought.
No. Hindu has done right thing.
I don't know what's going on.
Just coverage to the Hamas man as to what he wants to speak. More than it's a matter of the free press. It is a question of
Islamic radicalism is that they want to color Hamas as a saint. That is what people want to do. They want to show Hamas as not a terror organization, but Hamas as a resistance group. That's the problem. That's what they've been trying to do with these pro-Hamas protests under the guise of pro-Palestine protests in India and the rest of the world. This is Islamic radicalism at its best, acting like sheep. But
no,
sheep
not at all.
who are basically wolves in sheep clothing. That's the problem.
Chief. You must know that.
Come on, Hamas is a terror organization.
Hamas is controlling the Gaza, politically as well as administratively, militarily.
In the interest of the people of Palestine, the people of Palestine have a... Hamas is a terror organization. Have you seen the brutality of what Hamas has done?
And I think I cannot believe. I cannot believe. No, 1 minute. I cannot believe what the Frontline is doing. This magazine called the Frontline, I didn't even know it exists any longer. I didn't even know anything about it, but I'm told it exists in some corner out there. Now the point here being, sir, we must be very conscious of one thing. See, I tell you one thing. The last magazine that I ever read, was only when Vinod Mehta was editing the Outlook. I think he was the last editor of a magazine who I used to respect. I don't even know if magazines are read nowadays. You don't even see them on planes. No, they're not even available free anywhere, but they must be there somewhere on digital. So there's an argument, many people are arguing, Arnab, don't make a big deal of it, nobody reads the Frontline. I don't know about that. Maybe 5.5 people do. That's not my concern, or whatever, 1,000 people or 2,000. More ethical that we are dealing with tonight, Aarti. And what is the issue at hand? The issue at hand is a terrorist has quoted Mahatma Gandhi to defend terrorism. That, and I cannot, I just put my hand on my head and I say, what on earth is going on? A terrorist, a leader of a group that has just carried out the worst and most brutal rapes of women next to the corpses of their dead husbands, a perverted display of violence, has quoted Mahatma Gandhi to defend terrorism, and there is no counter to it. Look at the quality of journalism. No counter, everything. Yes, thank you, sir. Next question. Thank you, sir. Have you seen this?
Yeah.
And this has been published. A terrorist quoting Mahatma Gandhi has been taken as a blurb in large fonts as part of the interview. It's really, I mean, this is not neutrality in my view. What do you think it is, Aarti?
Arnab, Arnab, I'm not surprised at all. In fact, you should not be surprised at all either, because we know the media controlled by the Lutyens cabal in the last 3 decades has been giving platforms to Yasin Malik, Saeed Salahuddin, Hafiz Saeed, the biggest known terrorists in Pakistan and India. So we should not be surprised. They've been doing this for the last 3 decades since the Congress. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. The entire media in the last 3 decades, which was controlled by Lutyens cabal, they've been giving, and only to appease their Muslim vote bank. This has been going on for far too long. Now, Frontline, which is almost a dead news magazine, it's resurrected only to help Rahul Gandhi's political future. As we know, Sonia Gandhi is also writing in favor of Hamas. Congress party is speaking in favor of a terrorist organization called Hamas, but the same people have been defending, interviewing, giving platforms to Hafiz Saeed, Saeed Salahuddin, Yasin Malik, giving platforms to all these terrorists. It's only for saving and securing the political future of Rahul Gandhi in Kerala. And we know Kerala is the...
I'm sorry, Israel is not a terror state. Israel is not a terror state, Vivek. The only terror organization in that region is Hamas. Israel is not a terror state. If Israel was a terror state, Palestinians wouldn't be walking in Israel.
She is talking that Vajpayee was controlled by Lutyens cabal.
One of the few states in the country where Muslim youth went to join the ISIS.
It is one of the few states which is
I'll give one point.
I'll the Constitution.
Rahul Gandhi.
No, I tell you. Can I make a point here?
You are diverting.
Can I make a point here? Can I make a point here, gentlemen? I just want to take a case in point. I'll take 3-4 minutes.
Why does Republic stand only for Israel?
Vivek, I'll take 3-4 minutes.
Yeah, okay.
Can I just complete my point, Vivek? I'll try and explain to you something. Ahead of the 2014 elections, I used to have personally great relationship with a very, very esteemed gentleman called Ved Pratap Vaidik. He's a very senior journalist. And he was otherwise very fond of me. Alas, he's no more. But I took him on because as part of his efforts at building a relationship with people across the border, he went across, and you'll remember this, Piyushji. He went and met Hafiz Saeed, and a picture came of Ved Pratap Vaidik meeting Hafiz Saeed. Right? I found it unforgivable. I took him on. I criticized him. I don't remember. I think I called him on my program. You know, I just couldn't. I shriveled at the thought of an Indian going and meeting Hafiz Saeed 6 years after 26/11. I thought it was a betrayal of the country. And I know he and I never spoke after that, but I was clear about my opinion. At that point of time, if I'm not mistaken, the Congress party said Mr. Vaidik is an RSS man and the BJP should explain why he is meeting Hafiz Saeed. This was in 2014, Piyushji. Right? Now, if Ved Pratap Vaidik meeting Hafiz Saeed was terrible, which it was, how is the Hindu giving an open platform to a Hamas terrorist interviewed by Iftikhar Gilani in Ankara? All good journalism.
Hamas has not been declared a terrorist
group by
United Nations as
1 minute.
now.
Don't go technical on me. Don't go technical on me.
Why are you declaring it as terrorist?
Don't go. Piyushji. Yes, Piyushji.
Sir, sorry.
Mr. Piyush Pant.
Neither has the government of India. The government of India has also not declared Hamas as a terrorist group. We still have a Palestinian embassy. Sir.
Let Piyush Pant reply, please, Vivek. Vivek, let Mr. Pant reply, please.
Oh, please don't confuse yourself between Hamas and Palestine, please.
Well, Arnab, Arnab.
Yes, sir.
I think when the Indian government has not still declared Hamas a terrorist organization, so why we are fighting over it? You know, and the journalistic ethics demands that you interview or give space to even your the worst enemies or worst people, because it is the professional ethics which demands that you meet the enemies. And history is replete with many instances. If you remember, you know, John Miller interviewing Laden in South Afghanistan, then you must be remembering Daniel Parler. You know, he interviewed the Islamic terrorist who killed the Americans, but he was never questioned by the American media or the American government. So it is the duty of the journalist.
Yeah, well, that's the sad part.
Give space.
That's the sad part. He was never questioned, sir. That's the sad part. He was never questioned. You cannot give a space to Islamic terrorists. The sad part was he was never questioned. That journalist should have been questioned. Today, Islamic terrorists, Islamic radicalists are using media to propagate, to spread the hate. That is the problem. You're not understanding. By interviewing a terrorist, you are showing other people the reasons to become a terrorist.
For our country,
are you not understanding? Do you give a platform to a terrorist?
You know,
why should you give a platform to a terrorist? Are you wanting to spread terrorism? We are not interested in the story of a terrorist. We are not interested in why he's become a terrorist. We are interested in stopping terrorism.
Even Indian.
That's what we are interested in.
Piyush, what do you think? This is a debate. I take the debate forward with you. Take the debate forward with you. You're a very senior journalist. I thank you a tremendous amount of personal respect. But my question is, Saurabh, and I would like to enlighten us. Tomorrow, Salahuddin give you an interview. Will you interview them? Would you wish that interview so the Hindu can? Then is there no editorial judgment that a newspaper is supposed to apply on its own?
And see the context.
No, you know, we journalists cannot be judgmental, you know. We are the communicators. You know, media is the communicator. We have to communicate to the people. What is the fact, what is not the fact. We should report both sides of the picture. That is the objectivity of the journalism. So we are not the judges. We cannot decide. We are not the prosecutor. We cannot prosecute. It is for the government to take the action. And moreover,
the good journalism also means
Indian government has not declared Hamas.
Good journalism also means that you should see the context. Good journalism also means that you should see the context. It has happened. A horrific terror attack has happened. This particular terrorist is trying to build a narrative to mislead the people of India, and you're running that propaganda. That is what a good journalist does. You make sure you sift out a propaganda. You don't run a propaganda. You don't go and peddle a propaganda. That's what we're trying to say. This is what good journalism means. A horrific terror attack and you are giving him a platform to build that narrative and try to defend it as freedom struggle. It's
no, he's not
interviewing a Palestinian leader.
Piyush Pant, counter view from Piyush.
You want to look at the one side of the picture. You are seeing.
No, we are looking at all the sides, sir, objectively.
Through the eye of Israel, not through the eye of Palestinians also.
We are looking at the eyes of a humanitarian angle. They have been a victim of a horrific terror attack, which you cannot undermine. You cannot undermine the horrific terror attack that Hamas
let's not even go into theory here. Saurabh, if I can come in. Piyush Pant, can I get you into, can I get, sir, Piyush ji, 1 minute. Can I get Aarti also into the debate? And while I'm keeping you on the debate, Atikur Rahman is on the debate.
Sure.
And I think my point here is, see, there is an old Chinese proverb I read while I was researching on the issue of terrorism. in Cambridge that the terrorist wants to kill one and frighten 10,000. So propaganda is very critical to their entire machinery and thinking. It's called propaganda. I consider this interview propaganda because this interview has been unable to ask one direct counter question, right? So it's complete propaganda. And I think there are ethical issues that I have with this whole argument that journalists should be fair to terrorists as well. I want to understand, why should journalists be fair to terrorists? And I think Naor Ghulam's question is very right. Would you interview Afzal Guru as well? I think the answer to Naor Ghulam would have been that yes, there are people who would die for an interview with Afzal Guru and Yaqub Memon and Hafiz Saeed, but that is against my country's national interest, so it must not be allowed. Otherwise, people will take the guise of being journalists to do whatever they want, Aarti. Yeah. They'll do what they want. They'll interview they'll interview terrorists, they'll roam around with them, and then they'll say, I've got a press card, you see, so I can do what I want. Aarti and then Atik, please. Aarti.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Arnab, this is exactly what has been happening, and that is the beef that I have had with mainstream media. You know, until you arrived on the scene, it was a one-sided story. It was a one-street approach to the whole issue, that you could platform terrorists in Indian mainstream newspapers and television and events and conferences, but you could not actually show victims
and they were given legitimacy
in India. That's the experience. Absolutely. And they continue to do this with Hamas. I mean, Hamas, a terror organization which went on raping, killing, beheading, maiming Israelis on October 7, and these shameless people have gone out to appease, just to appease their own Muslim vote bank, who are, of course, you know, radical in Kerala. We know that a large section of their Muslim vote bank in Kerala, in UP, in other places is completely radicalized. They would stand with ISIS, with Al-Qaeda, with Hafiz Saeed, with Pakistan, with ISI, and of course with Hamas now. We know that a lot of people on social media, a lot of people on the streets in India are dying to protest for Hamas. But this only goes to show the malice is so deep within the frontline Hindu, this entire Lutyens cabal, that they are not able to see what's wrong and what's right. Their moral compass is completely smashed. They cannot see how it's affecting India, how it's also affecting, I mean, victims of rape in Israel. It's shameful. As an Indian citizen and also as a victim of terrorism myself, I feel ashamed that organizations and newspapers, news magazines, which are hardly, in fact, you know, of any significance or any readership today, they are reviving themselves, getting a fresh lease of life by appeasing to the Muslim Islamist radicals in the country and outside the country as well.
Some people are commenting that, you know, I'm giving too much of a platform to unknown media outlets who anyway people don't read, but that's besides the point. The point that I'm raising here tonight, and I once again repeat tonight the fact that I would like to debate this issue with Mr. N. Ram, and my only question to Mr. Ram would be that, Mr. Ram, you say that many things can be done because we are journalists. And my question to you, Mr. Ram, because you are at least a generation older, is this. Mr. Ram, you can say you can publish pieces giving the Chinese government point of view. My question is not that. Okay, you can say I do that because I'm a journalist, I need to present all points of view, right? That's the argument, right, Saurabh? Savio, that's the argument. But my question is different. My question is whether, Mr. Ram, correct, you would, or any publication associated with you would, take a sponsored piece from the Chinese government. If you publish a piece that is seen to be too pro-China in your approach, okay, you and I can have a disagreement over it. You can say that's my point of view. I can say I disagree with your point of view, fine. But would you publish even one page or a publication or a supplement if it were to be financially sponsored by anyone from the Chinese government, directly by the government of China or the Chinese Communist Party? On any occasion. I'm not saying it has been done. That matter is up for scrutiny, public scrutiny, people can find out. which papers have published such openly sponsored China government or Chinese Communist Party funded supplements and sponsored articles. But is that also journalism? Who's stretching the argument there? Who's stretching the argument there? In the name of journalism, will you do that? And does that not set a bad precedent? You can also argue, no, China is not a proscribed organization. It's not. But what are the ethics of this? Or would you say ethics don't matter? We keep going to journalism schools. People keep giving big lectures on media ethics. Where are the media ethics of this? I think we are questioning, we are pushing the borders too far on ethics, and the people who scream the loudest about ethics should be answering these questions. So that is my single point question to Mr. N. Ram. Do you think Mr. Ram should give me his point of view on this, Savio? I'd love to hear him. I'd love to hear him.
I think he should. See,
leave this aside. I'd love to hear him on that.
For the country to understand and media for the country to understand and the media personalities to understand that what you have is a propaganda war. What the truth is completely different. Hamas is a terror organization, and giving any footprint to a terror organization is to allow for the propaganda to propagate to a large
Atik is on the debate, and I know what he'll say. He'll say technically it's not. Atik.
Read Goa Chronicle. Read Goa Chronicle, Atik. Read Goa Chronicle. You will find the truth. Take some trouble to read Goa Chronicle. Take some trouble to watch the Republic. Hamas is a terror organization. Do you agree or not? Is Hamas a terror organization? Do you agree or not? Is Hamas a terror organization? Do you agree or not? Mr. Rahman, Atikur Rahman, do you agree that Hamas is a terror organization or not?
I told you earlier, Savio.
It's a direct question. It's a simple question.
What Hamas did on October 7
is a terror organization or not?
Unpardonable offense.
But are they a terror organization?
Why are you giving
a terror organization
to Israel?
There is no linguistic ambiguity here. There is no linguistic ambiguity. Is Hamas a terror organization? Is Hamas a terror organization?
I don't know whether. I would like to know. I would like to know. I'm just curious 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 to know one thing. Hey, just 1 minute. Will you chillax, sir? Please, chillax and listen to my next question. Listen to my next question. You know, very interesting thing I'll tell you, viewers. People have a big problem with Indian nationalism, Bharatiya. Indian nationalism is very bad. It's a danger to society. It's non-secular. It's communal. Blah 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 blah.
Any nationalism is
now,
bad.
Aarti, note here. Yeah, any nationalism is bad. Thank you. Can you be quiet for a minute and let me complete my point, which is pertinent as usual. But I don't know this gentleman Iftikhar Gilani. I don't know if he's the son-in-law of Syed Ali Shah Gilani. I don't know whether he's therefore the same person who called Erdogan's victory a triumph of nationalism in Turkey. My God, he's celebrating Turkish nationalism. Nationalism in Turkey is a beautiful thing. But nationalism in India is terrible. It threatens us all. Crazy. The levels of hypocrisy, Aarti. It's frightening. It's shameful. He says, and there's a piece in Frontline. I don't know what this Frontline is. Some kind of a magazine, I'm told. It says, Erdogan's victory in Turkey is a triumph of nationalism. Baap re, you love nationalism in Turkey, but you hate nationalism in India. Why, Baba? Why, Turkish nationalism, very good, huh? Lovely, tough Turkish nationalism. We love Turkish nationalism. Oh, we love Turkish nationalism. We're rooting for Turkish nationalism, but we hate Bharatiya nationalism. I don't understand this logic, man.
Indian so-called nationalists.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Answer is simple, Arnab.
Aarti.
Answer is very simple, Arnab. when Muslim nationalism eventually evolves in Muslim Ummah, Muslim Brotherhood and Caliphate. But Indian nationalism is a stumbling block to that. That's the whole idea of Ghazwa-e-Hind, you know, that's the idea of having this whole entire world under the thumb of Sharia law. That's what these people fantasize about. This whole
do you condemn the Hindutva nationalism?
Yeah, why don't you say that you condemn? Do you condemn Sharia law? I do not condemn. Why should I condemn my nationalism? I am a nationalist. I am a proud Indian Hindu nationalist.
I condemn Islamic nationalism.
I am a proud Indian Hindu nationalist. I am a proud Indian Hindu nationalist. I am a proud Indian Hindu nationalist.
That's condemnable. You are being hypocrite then. You are being hypocrite then. If you condemn Islamic nationalism, you should condemn Hindu nationalism.
I'm proud of being an Indian nationalist.
I don't let me speak. Listen, Atik, listen, I'm having a great time here. But I'm going to take a 30-second quick Securite commercial break.
India. Atik, you're living in India. You should be proud as an Indian nationalist too.
I am living in India which is not a Hindutva India.
Securite.
I condemn Hindutva nationalism.
Securite 30-second commercial break, ladies and gentlemen. Please join me in Hamas terrorists.
Ransomware and other advanced threats are on the rise. Your organization can be the next target. Are you ready? Securite Hawk Hunt XDR with AI-powered enhanced detection and response can help prepare your organization to counter next ransomware attack, data breach and advanced threat. Securite Hawk Hunt XDR.
You know what happened, Vivek? Doubting the Balakot airstrikes, asking for sabut, defending Pakistan after the Amarnath attacks in 2017, saying you cannot blame Pakistan, praising Burhan Wani, building a narrative for him, right? All of these things have gone on for too long. Now, in the context of what is going on, some moments make us think. Some moments like this make us think. You see, I'm sure it's making you think as well. And the piercing nature of our arguments tonight is leading to a situation where Ahmed Ayaz and Vivek Srivastava have nothing to defend anymore. They know they are on the losing side. They know they are on the losing side. Right?
Not at all. No, it's a matter where everybody is supposed to express himself, and it is always better to accommodate the viewpoint and allow people to express themselves and then think over it. It is always better. Instead, taking a gun, I repeat.
No, I don't know Ramya. Why should I hold him responsible? He was associated with the Hindu, that's all I know. I don't know his present association, but because he's been associated with the Hindu, I'm metaphorically asking him the questions. I could ask the question to the editor-in-chief of the Hindu. Let him come on my program, I'll ask him the questions. What is this Baba giving interviews to terrorists? Who is this Iftikhar Gilani?
No, why? He criticized the Congress also. Why did you see that?
Atik cannot even embrace his
He didn't write on Bofors. There was somebody else who wrote on Bofors.
His Indian national identity. He's allergic to
Arnab, it is not a matter of giving a platform to the terrorists. It's a matter to see the viewpoint of the people who are picking up the guns and see that also is taken up to see what they are talking about. So I think it should be seen that way.
Point of view, the Israeli soldiers, the Israelis who are aggressors, then what is wrong in talking to somebody from Hamas? What is wrong?
Something that happened on October 7th, everybody
I'll tell
says
you,
it's wrong.
you remember,
says it is wrong.
you know,
in
20...
You're giving a propaganda to them.
Israelis are also killing, Israelis are also
Saurabh and Vivek.
Yeah, you know,
yes,
Vivek, hear me out.
We should question both the sides.
Conducted a brutal terror attack.
Yeah, please.
It was an editorial decision. We all take that you will not allow any propaganda space. So don't turn it this way that we are against free speech. We are not against free speech. We are against a propaganda.
You are absolutely against the Palestinians.
That's the real issue. That is a real issue. Don't
Everybody is
Hamas.
Say that,
we are against
Hamas today.
Israeli. We are peddling. We are not peddling Israeli propaganda.
No.
We are
the Indian government is basically doing an American
saying that this was a
it is. You see, you are talking about an incident, attack which the Hamas has done on 7th. But what has happened before that? Have the Palestinians not been made refugees by the Israelis?
And that is
has there not been an attack on the Gaza by the Israelis? Have many children been not killed? Babies have not been killed. Women have not been killed. Has the Baitul Muqaddas, our mosque, not been, have not shilling taken place inside? Have the Muslims not been restricted in praying there in the Baitul Muqaddas, Masjid Aqsa? So was not that an incident? Why do you pick up in between? I mean, you have to see in totality. What is making Hamas to attack? Because they have been already attacked. They have been attacked before Hamas could attack. They have been already attacked many times. It's not the one. Even a mosque, even Muslims are not, restricted to pray in the mosque, the important mosque which we call Baitul Muqaddas.
Which should be condemned.
And is that not the case?
You are justifying that. What is
and how many Palestinians have taken refuge?
The problem is the... I would
the Hamas has attacked. There are so many things have happened around. And then thereafter, as a retaliation,
the astonishing thing, the astonishing thing in all of this is the complete collapse of so-called global organizations. WHO failed the world, didn't have the guts to speak about China, and the United Nations has failed the world, does not have the guts to take on Hamas like it should. It's trying to do a balancing act. There's no balancing act really.
They say after every 10 minutes a child
anyway,
is killed
I think the Hindu and the front line should clarify why they want to give a platform to the Hamas. I don't know what their strategy or compulsion is. I'd be very intrigued, and I would love to know Mr. N. Ram's view on whether it is right to take any sponsored article from the Chinese government or the Chinese Communist Party. It is, I'm not saying that he knows of anyone who's done it, but Mr. N. Ram, let me start with a hypothesis that if somebody has, how terrible would that be? What is your take on that? I'd like to know your editorial opinion. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your support. I'll see you at 9 o'clock tomorrow. To everyone, good night and goodbye.